Hey there, estate planning attorney Paul Rabalais here, and in this video we're going to talk about estate planning when you're on a budget. All right, so the legal expense should be a part of every initial conversation that you have with an estate planning attorney. And I did a poll recently, just a few days ago, on my YouTube channel. In fact, if you were one of the 1,700 or so people who responded to the poll, thank you, that really helps. And I asked, what's the most important attribute of an estate planning attorney? And not surprisingly, 78% said experienced, but 6% of the people said reasonably priced. But the fact that only 6% said reasonably priced is kind of inconsistent with the fact that a lot of people, when they start a conversation with an estate planning attorney, the first question out of their mouth is how much for a will, or how much for a trust, or how much to get my legal affairs in order. And really that's the wrong question, right from the get-go. It's like asking a carpenter, how much will it cost to build me a piece of furniture? Or maybe it's like asking a doctor and saying, Doc, I'm sick. How much to make me better? So the doctor, when you ask him that question, he's gonna say this person's a wacko. So let me go over though who this video is for. This video is for people, maybe you tried to do some things for yourself because you're just a kind of do-it-yourself kind of person, and maybe you got stuck and you felt like you really needed to talk to an attorney to get their guidance and make sure it all goes just right. Maybe there are some online opportunities out there for you to do some things, but maybe you can barely turn on your computer. You're not real technologically savvy, and so you feel like you need to get an attorney. But again, your resources are limited. Maybe your resources are limited. Maybe you have a very modest home, and maybe you have a little bit of savings. Maybe you have $50,000 of savings, but you want to protect your family. So rather than ask as the very first question, how much, my suggestion is do your homework first. Watch some of these videos. It doesn't cost anything to watch the videos. And even though you're clearly not an estate planning attorney, you can prepare yourself to have a somewhat intelligent discussion with the attorney that doesn't lead with the, hey, how much question. Because when you lead with the how much question, and that's your first question, two things are gonna happen, and neither one of them is real good. The first thing that might happen is, because the attorney wants to answer your question, they're gonna give you a number. And then after they talk to you more, they're going to need to change their number, and that's just getting off on the wrong track. The other thing that might happen when you lead with the how much question is the lawyer, very tactically, may say, that's a stupid question. And so neither one of those things is good. So maybe you educate yourself, and sure, it is important that you have the what's the legal expense conversation, but it should not be the very first question that you ask. Maybe you approach an attorney and you say something like, you know what, Mr. So-and-so, or you know what, Mrs. So-and-so, I think I need your help. I want to protect my family. My spouse and I, we have never done any kind of formal estate planning, and what we think we want is that when one of us passes away, we'd like everything to go to the survivor of us. And then after we both pass away, we'd like everything to go to our 3 children equally. We've got some young children, so if something happens to both of us and our children are young, we'd like my brother to be named as the trustee of a trust for our children that would last until our children reach the age of 25. And we'd also like our brother, if something happens to both of us, to be the legal guardian of our minor children. Can you give us some guidance in that area? So by being prepared with some kind of conversation like that, you've just saved a lot of time. You've made your job easier. You've made the attorney's job easier, and you really got the relationship started off on the right foot. Or maybe you're an elderly gentleman or an elderly woman, and you say, you know what, Miss So-and-so, I have 2 children. One of my children just really can't handle money. I want to make sure that her portion, when I pass away, goes into a trust. I want to name my son, who's really responsible, as the executor of my estate when I pass away, and perhaps we should talk about maybe how he should be the trustee of my daughter's trust. Can you help me with that? So that starting with that is so much easier, and easier for the attorney to give you accurate information in a short period of time. So much easier than just starting out with, hey, how you doing, Miss Attorney, how much? So, and maybe you say, instead of, some people ask, right out of the box, how much for just a really kind of easy or simple will? Instead of that, putting the attorney in a difficult spot, say something like, I think my circumstances are relatively simple, and here's what I think I need, but I'm relying on someone like you to guide me through it and make sure I don't miss anything. Can we talk about that? So that's just a great way to start the relationship off on the right foot. I realize many people need to be very careful and avoid, spending unnecessary, perhaps even thousands of dollars getting an estate plan in order. Although on the other hand, some people are so intent on spending as little as possible on the front end that it can cost significantly on the back end. So, for example, one of those circumstances is someone wants to spend as little as possible to get their will done, but perhaps they realize, or perhaps they don't, when that couple passes away in the future, there could be some very expensive probate proceedings. So by spending a little more on the front end, you could be eliminating a lot of that legal expense, a significant amount of legal expense when each of those parents passes away in the future. So better just to have an overall conversation, get all of the options, come in with your homework done to allow the attorney to get a really good sense for what you're looking for, so they can customize something that fits all of your needs, not only your legal needs, your budgetary needs, and any other needs you might have. So hope that helps. If you want to put some comments down below, feel free. Make sure you hit the like button. That helps me out, and we will see you next time.